Hi Nikki.
Hello.
What's it like being vegan in Prague?
I don't know, it's like being vegan anywhere really. I just do my own thing, so I'm not in any groups. So it's good because there's now lots of Chinese restaurants, and now there's lots of Vietnamese restaurants, and they're really healthy. I've got one opposite my flat.
Oh, cool.
So if I eat out, I usually go there.
Yeah.
It's like 100 crowns. You get really great food. They have tofu. So, or I just have lunch. I just really get things like fruit when I eat fruit, because I work really hard and don't often go out of the office other than take my dogs for a walk.
You've been a vegan for quite a long time.
Oh, a veteran, yes. Yeah, fully for about 18 years, and almost for maybe, I don't know, 6 years before that process. And a vegetarian, started at 5, cutting out. I always hated roasts. It was worse when I was like a little kid, 5, and I used to smell lamb being cooked, and that grease and that smell like permeating the house. I always thought it was extremely disgusting. But, I never told you this, my family were butchers.
Oh wow.
So my grandparents are butchers, and my dad and his brothers worked in the butcher's shop. And so they thought that you had to eat meat and you could eat your vegetables. So I started at 5 this sort of fight with them. And I was considered to be some crazy kid. But to me, chewing big pieces of meat wasn't nice, really. So I started rejecting meat quite early, and then just cutting more and more out until I sort of 18, when I went to university. I never bought any, and there's lots of veggie burgers at the student union, so I sort of lived on those, and I never ate meat after them.
So you kind of saw the connection between like an animal's life and like the meat on your plate from a young age?
Initially, I didn't like the taste of it, but then I was surrounded by, I always had lots of animals at home, like tons, dogs, cats, mice, everything. So the connection between what it was, it was probably about 16 when I really started sort of understanding, because, you know, back then there wasn't the exposure and information like there is now, and also there wasn't food available. Honestly, when I didn't have Sunday lunches, I actually had to put my foot down and fight. I used to have things like a pot noodle.
Oh gosh.
For lunch, because that was the only vegetarian thing on the market. There wasn't a culture of not eating meat.
Yeah.
Not in England anyway.
Gosh.
Imagine having pot noodles for Sunday lunch. Yeah, that was...
You survived.
I survived, yeah, but then I had to educate myself. So when I went to university, when I was a researcher, I then began to buy cookbooks, and I had to teach myself how to cook, because I didn't know, and I didn't know how to cook vegetarian food. And then I became a vegan, and so, but then more and more products were available. Let's say we were talking about Linda McCartney before, so she was probably one of the first people to come along with a famous brand of I think they were vegan, her sausages, although she was a vegetarian. But that was like the first big movement. There were others you could buy from Holland and Barrett. You could buy vegetarian sort of ready, you know, like, they used to do things like pork pies and things. They were full of hydrogenated fat. So it's been an evolution which I've seen develop.
Some people say that vegans should do activism as well as just sit there and eat their vegan meals. So what do you think about that?
I think life's about personal choice, and I don't believe that we should force anything down anybody's neck or say, if we're talking about religion, that you should do this. That's the same, isn't it? So, but I think that if you choose to be a vegan, you do it because you've thought about it usually. So at some point, probably vegans. I don't really know many myself. It's a personal thing for me. I imagine though that vegans are probably more active as a percentage than others, because it's something that you come to yourself usually and you feel strongly about. I rescue dogs. I've always rescued animals from a very small child, so that's just lots of vegans seem to rescue dogs. I don't know. Do you know that?
Yeah,
do you find
that's
that?
true.
Because you want to help, don't you? But then I started to think that some years ago that I should do something myself, and I don't like groups for exactly this sort of thing you said, that vegans think that you should be more active. That's okay, that some people think that, but I don't like groups, so I wanted to do something, but on my own. But I'm happy to know others and be in groups, but it's I've always sort of worked on my own, and I painted as a kid, so, and I've sort of been in business, and I felt that I needed to rebalance myself. So I wanted to do something based on art, but the message be about raising awareness in a non-confrontational way about what we eat and what we do. And the first thing that struck me was about leather, what leather is. So what I wanted to do was to inform people about, when they buy leather, what it is. And that's how I came to my bag project.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not a fashion person. I'm quite arty, and I should have gone to art school, so I wanted to find a medium to spread the message of what leather is, which I was sort of doodling at night, watching TV and doodling, and I came to this idea of bags and leather and trying to raise awareness that the leather, the skin, it's actually skin of a cow usually, is actually better on the animal, not on a bag. So that's how I came to this concept of the bag.
You mentioned about people thinking about where they got their bags from and like how it's made. So do you think there's a better way of producing bags that without animal cruelty, and also like maybe without human cruelty as well?
I think there's a big movement in the fashion industry. There's all sorts of things happening in fashion. I'm not from fashion, but I'm sort of learning what's happening. But I've been following, because I was a researcher in the environment like 20 years ago. So I'm aware of different things happening. I'm aware of the detox campaign run by Greenpeace, which is trying to get fashion to stop polluting using pollutants, and that's part of the REACH, sort of an extension of the REACH campaign, which is chemicals in fashion. And also, you know, even if it's regulated in Europe, companies can go and get things made in poorer countries and just keep polluting as usual. So there's that going on, and then there's what I see, because the bags that I want to make, I think mainly they're going to be sent via the internet. They're going to be sold via the internet. And then, you know, I was thinking, God, there's because of the internet and online sales, there's going to be much more products shipped by air freight rather than people going and buy things in the shops. With more goods being sold online, they're going to be shipped not through boats because it takes too long, because people want the things like in a couple of days or something. So if I'm shipping stuff, because this is all the things that I'm thinking about, it's a niche product, sell online, but ship, I'm going to have to send stuff by airmail, because I think, not airmail, air freight, but because I think probably a lot of people in the US might be interested in them, and as you say, Japan. So then I think, God, I should have some element of the price which is related to the environmental degradation of manufacturing them and shipping them, which I don't think companies are thinking about that. And that's why one of the projects that I'm, as a sort of a sub-project with this, is intellectually looking at trying to encourage business owners to price the product slightly higher, and it's part of that corporate social responsibility, and take that cash themselves and keep it and invest in tree planting or whatever to offset carbon, rather than it being a government tax, which very few companies will actually do voluntarily, and no governments will bring in mandatory because it's a tax on business. So that's something I'm sort of investigating with some friends who are tax experts. And then the other thing is knowing where the bag is produced and who's producing it. People don't want to have slave labour, but everybody's wanting to get fashion as cheaply as possible and buy it. And I don't know why do people want to buy really cheap stuff, have it for a few weeks and throw it away, and actually buy what everyone else is wearing. But people don't want slave labour, or a lot of people don't give a shit if people in Bangladesh are working in crazy conditions, a building falls down and kills more than 1,000 people. I think more people are bothered, and what I'm also interested in is the slow fashion movement, where I would like to encourage people to find their own style and buy something and keep it, and buy something which is not sort of high fashion, because it's a great business trying to get kids to buy stuff and then 3 months later it's obsolete, chuck it away and buy something else, and to buy it as cheaply as possible, and to this whole business of people, I don't know, slave labour. I don't know so much about it and the conditions in Bangladesh and China, but I'm probably thinking that it's if we actually was working in those conditions ourselves, we wouldn't really like it in some cases.
Yeah.
So if we can be more informed of who's making our clothes, what materials they are, what chemicals are used in them, and the environmental degradation, it would be useful. But in business, nothing's perfect. So we're juggling, okay, if I do this, that happens, if I do that happens. Nothing's going to be perfect. Even the bag I'm going to be made is not going to be perfect. But we have to try and find a better way in an imperfect world, and tell people what we're doing and why, and then people can make an informed choice, because lots of things in like food labelling and fashion, we're not aware of what's in our food and all this thing about sugar, and we think we're buying healthy but it's full of sugar and everybody's getting fat. That's a big debate. It's sort of like a new thing that we're all learning about, and I think it's the same in fashion. And going back to cows, which is the first range of bags that I'm doing is about cows, is that lots of people buy leather and they think of it as leather and they don't really know it's the skin of a cow ripped off a body when it's been killed, and in a nice way, without being like in your face. And I want, in a nice way, raise the awareness of the beauty of cows and what they are, and try and get people to think about what leather is without attacking people, and just offering a beautiful alternative. So that's what I want to do.
You're trying to encourage people to like think more about what they buy.
Yeah, think more generally about what they buy.
So, and you mentioned about fast fashion. Like, how do we counteract fast fashion? Because like, the more people buy, the more money people get. Like,
and it's actually the throwing away. What do you do with all of that stuff? It's all waste. It's all part. Fast fashion. I just want to encourage people to develop their own individual thought process. I can't criticise them, what they do, what they decide upon, but to sort of just think generally about this independent thought about, and the other thing is about bodies, what your body is like. We've all got different shapes, and not to want to look like someone on the catwalk and some celebrity. Look at your body, look what fits it. Try and be more of a fashionista and develop your own sense of style rather than copying others. Generally in life, just be an independent thinker. We're not born as independent thinkers. We develop like that. So it's trying to encourage people to develop and questioning people. Oh, why do that and why? And I was always a bit of a pain in the arse questioning things. And I travelled and I met lots of people, and I asked them why and listened to them. So you end up sticking bits of other people and cultures onto you, and then you end up being much more sort of worldly, and you see, like because I travelled a lot and I lived abroad, I went back to England and I saw England from a different light. You do, the drinking culture, and I noticed English people did get drunk a lot. Where in France, where I lived after university, I noticed that people didn't drink as much, and teenagers went to cafes and they had ice cream and hot chocolates with their friends, teenagers. Where in England, we were all in bars underage, and it's true. So I noticed the difference. It's just that the more you meet different people, the more you travel, the more you speak to people, the more you're aware, generally, of things.
Why did you become vegan?
Well, awareness, and I just became more and more aware, and I used to speak. I did have back in the days when I became a vegan, there weren't many, but it was mainly what I saw was sort of intellectuals at university, and I used to speak to them. But I was a vegetarian for many years, and we talked, but they were environmentalists as well, because we were working in the environmental area. And then, so my friend who'd, I'd say, been radicalised at the Sorbonne, a friend I knew when I lived in France, she was challenging me and why I wasn't a vegan, and I spent an evening talking to her, and I was just making a lot of excuses. And literally when she went, I spent the evening really bullshitting. But of course she was challenging me, making me think, so the next day I just became a vegan, because I knew I'd been making up excuses. So it was the next day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just being challenged and making me think. But why? She was saying, but why? But why now is coming up with all this rubbish?
So should people just go around asking people why?
Yeah, talking to people. Yeah, I've actually encouraged a lot of people to stop eating meat over my life. People that I'm close to, or to really cut down. So it's just education. It's all about sort of enlightenment. I see it as enlightenment, enlightenment of what we are, animals, and we're mammals, and just people don't know what happens to animals when they're killed, other animals should I say, and we can easily find food. There's so much food that's thrown away, it's so much food in supermarkets. We don't need to, in my personal opinion, I can't push it onto everyone, we don't need to eat other animals because we've got so much food. An interesting point is that I'm 46, by the way, and I was a little bit, this is in terms of health, I'm actually quite slim, and most of my family members are overweight and have diabetes and various things, and I always got a lot of stick being a vegan, being from a sort of butcher's family. And I was a little bit worried that I'd been a vegan, and I wanted to sort of spread the message in terms of health, which is an important point. I was a bit worried because I've been a vegan for so long, and that I must be very deficient in lots of things. Even had 2 children as a vegan, no problem. But I was really nervous about I would be deficient for being a vegan for 20 years. So I had a health check, a complete health check, test your blood, they look at your internal organs with the ultrasound. My doctor said, oh, I can see your organs really clearly. Most people are too fat to see, but you're really slim. And that's because I'm a vegan. And he did the blood test, and he came back, he said, my God, your blood's test really good. They tested all the vitamins and everything. And it was all perfect. It was all, apart from vitamin D, which is not diet related, it's sun. So he said you've got to take vitamin D supplements, which I do. But everything else, all this scaremongering, I can't talk for anyone else, but I just want to say that for 20 years of being a vegan, and sort of another, I don't know, 6-8 years of being almost vegan, that my blood results were completely wonderful.
Yeah, you're still alive as well.
Yeah, I'm still alive, I'm slim, but there's a lot of scaremongering in terms of health, people saying, oh, but it's really unhealthy, you're going to be deficient, but I wasn't. Yeah. And I can't say that's, scientifically proven that if you're a vegan, that your blood's perfect. I can only, this is anecdotal, it's my information. And so all that scaremongering, oh, you're gonna be deficient in iron and folic acid. I wasn't. It was perfectly in the normal, perfect range. There was nothing wrong with me.
That's good. You can live healthy as a vegan.
I can't say it's for everybody.
For you, anyway,
because I don't know. But for me, yeah. Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any tips for people that want to go vegan?
I read quite a lot of nutrition books because there was no sort of general education about it, and of course everybody said it's really unhealthy. I did read quite a lot of nutrition books, so I suggest that you do learn and you don't just eat normal food like traditional food without meat. So it's just a case of learning sort of what sorts of things you can eat. And I these days I do eat a lot of sort of veg and fruit, and at lunch I'll just, because I'm busy as well, I'll just bring some fruit and veg and I'll cut it up and eat it, which is, and nuts, I've got nuts as well, but I feel full by eating that, and my weight's really, really good, so it's stable. Yeah, so I don't know, just eat healthy.
Thank you, Niki.
It's a pleasure.
Nice one.